Farming early warning systems forecast Zimbabwe is facing phase 3 of a food crisis. And Nigeria's Securities and Exchange Commission explains key highlights of new rules and amendments. Plus, African innovators continue to seek solutions to the continent's problems. I am Bosin Amafai, and this is Business Incorporated this Friday, December the 27th. Let's kick off with the stock markets here in Africa, which resumed largely today after the Christmas and Boxing Day holidays. Here in the country, the all-share index was trading around the flat line intraday. In South Africa, the main index was up 0.4%. In North Africa, the Egyptian bourse did not close for the holidays, but ended the week session on Thursday 1% higher, a day after the Central Bank of Egypt data showed the country's current account deficit narrowed to $1.382 billion in the July to September period. That's against $2.012 billion in the same period a year earlier. Checking the Kenyan stock market, which is yet to open for today but ended 0.33% positive before the Christmas and Boxing Day holiday. Meantime, markets in the Middle East are closed for the week, but the Abu Dhabi stock market on Thursday slipped 1%, with the United Arab Emirates, the country's largest lender, and First Abu Dhabi Bank were down 1.2%, and the Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank off track 0.9%. Look at the Dubai Financial Markets Index, negative 0.3%. The UAE Central Bank said it expects the country's GDP to increase by 2% in the fourth quarter of this year from the same period last year. In Saudi Arabia, the Tadawul benchmark index reverses earlier losses. The Saudi basic industries gained 1.3%, and state-owned oil corporations Aramco 0.4% higher at 35.4 reals or $9.44 US. In Qatar, the stock market index finished this week 0.2% in the negative territory. European markets are still trading as we speak, following the rally in stocks on the U.S. markets on Thursday. So let's talk to Ulrich Barth, who is a DWTV correspondent for Channels Television at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. Welcome to the show, Ulrich, and hope you had a great Christmas and Boxing Day holiday.
Hello. Oh, I just lost your...
I can hear you. I can hear you very well. We can hear you loud and clear. We can hear you very loud and clear, Ulrich Barth, but I guess we're trying to reconnect back to Ulrich Barth live there at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. He's getting ready to talk to us about the European trading day. But first, let's check in very quickly with the London stock market, where Simon Puse, my colleague, is standing by once again today to bring us up to date on the trading day. Simon, good afternoon. I'm sure the market have seen a bit of a different movement since we start the day a couple of hours ago. So this is intraday. What's the trading action so far around the equities and the currency market?
Yeah, thank you very much. Stock prices in London started higher today, the market reopening after a two-day Christmas break here in London. Let's start with the all-share index, which is used as a measure of how well the FTSE market is performing, as it shows the changing average value of the share prices. Is up today by 1/3%. The FTSE 100 rose today for the 11th successive session. It's up by 0.36%. For far this year, the UK flagship index has risen 14%, putting it on track for its best annual performance in 3 years. Then the FTSE 250 also doing very well today. That's up by over 0.2% on the intraday. Turning to the currencies, and the pound is also doing okay today, stabilising, of course, after the general election result gave Boris Johnson and the Conservatives a majority. Sterling is up on the dollar by over 0.5% and also up on the euro and the Japanese yen.
Great day for markets in UK and in Europe. But again, if you look at a few other stories in corporate news, why is the UK regulator conducting a further investigation or probe, as it were, into the deal between the delivery group Deliveroo and Amazon.com? What are they looking for here?
Yeah, an interesting developing business story, this one. Britain's competition watchdog has said today it will undertake an in-depth investigation into Amazon's purchase of a stake in the online food delivery group Deliveroo. Amazon bought around $500 million worth of shares in the company in October. The Competition and Markets Authority said it had moved the probe to phase 2 as both Amazon and Deliveroo had not cleared the doubts it had raised earlier this month before its December the 18th deadline. Many people have been surprised by this decision to investigate the transaction because the agency doesn't typically review minority acquisitions. The move, though, may have been down to growing fears about monopolies in big tech companies that have been allowed to go unchecked in the past. Amazon, of course, being a huge company. Well, a spokesman for Deliveroo said the company had been working closely with the CMA and will continue to do so. So we'll keep an eye on that, Bosun, because it's a really interesting story that Deliveroo, one of the biggest startup success stories here in London, and Amazon, obviously a massive company that's expanding into lots of different areas across the world.
We spoke earlier in the morning about the cold weather conditions in London. So are folks going to the theatres to watch movies at this point in time? Simon, so what are the big movies? Are there any one of them making any big box office at this period? Are you watching any movies at the theatre?
Yeah, it's that Christmas movie time of year, isn't it? Everyone's sitting down with their families to watch the biggest box office hits. Well, the biggest flop this year has been the movie version of Cats, which has failed to live up to expectations at the box office. That took just $6.5 million at the North American box office. The movie has an all-star cast that includes Taylor Swift, Idris Elba, Rebel Wilson, and Jason Derulo, and was expected to double that amount. In the UK and Ireland, it grossed just £3.4 million and was widely panned by critics across the board. According to The Hollywood Reporter, an updated print of Cats was sent out to cinemas after the film's director had ordered re-edits to his film with some improved visual effects. It's highly unusual, apparently, for a finished title already on release to be altered in this way. The big winner this Christmas was Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, which opened on December the 20th. It made a massive $32 million on its opening day, coming out way ahead of Jumanji, The Next Level, which brought in $12.6 million. Meanwhile, Little Women got $6.4 million. The latest Star Wars movie has now officially passed the $500 million mark in its first 8 days, earning a whopping $516.8 million worldwide. So, yeah, it's Star Wars. That's the real big winner this year. Cats didn't do so well.
Very interesting to see how things go. But I'm sure folks will still find time this weekend to go to the movies or the theatres, as it were. Thank you so much, Simon. It's been a very great week with you, a holiday week. Thank you so much. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch up next time.
Thanks a lot, Bosun. Speak soon.
Great.